Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, we are literally 2 subscribers away from 12,800 subscribers. So someone, for the love of God, click the subscribe button. And of course, if you could click the like button, I would be incredibly grateful. As Ryan Henderson says, how mental would it be if you all just like the stream? That would be mental. Look, Newcastle, I mean, we kick off in less than 18 hours. That's how soon this game is. The lunchtime kickoff on a Saturday. Never back the early kickoff. It's always tough. It's more tough when you're away at Newcastle. Not a nice place to go. So we'll be talking about that. Obviously, Mikel Arteta's done his press conference. We've seen the team out in training. There's some good news. Honestly, there is a lot of good news to go off. There are also some questions about how we actually line up tomorrow. Pretty mental that we actually have a selection. We actually have a selection headache where we have to decide who's going to play, not just throwing in anyone who's actually fit. So we'll have a bit of a debate about that because I think there's a good debate, especially now around the midfield. Just hit subscribe button, but unsubscribed. Oops. Well, that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Anyway, look, there's loads of you here. It's a Friday evening. It's the weekend. We love to see it. VV, Vlad, Pekka, Junior Films, Saliba, Ethan Udall, Oslo Guna, Ross Lawman, Jack Sax Tentego, Ryan Lukey, Adu Ventura, Logical Nonsense, Denlar, Spacetime, Heyo, Wilzagod, Lewis, Icarus, Matthew, and many, many more. It is good to see you. So I believe it's only Erdegaard, Calafiori, and Tomiyasu missing. Yeah, well, look. We'll get into it. We will just get straight into it with the press conference, to be fair. He was asked about his sympathy for what's going on in Spain. Obviously, horrific what is happening in Valencia at the moment. So, passed on his sympathies. I actually think the team did a minute's silence at the start of training today for those affected by those insane floods in Valencia. He was asked about Gabriel's availability. He said, we have a training session today. If he can complete that, he'll be available. He hasn't had any training sessions yet, but if he's able to do that, he'll be available to be in the squad. And I have some sensational news for you. Gabriel did indeed take part in the training session today. So assuming that after that training session, he was fine, Gabriel is available for tomorrow. On Calafiori, White, and Martin Erdegaard. Ricardo and Martin are definitely out, so Calafiori and Erdegaard not going to make it. With Ben, we don't know yet. He hasn't trained yet. He could not train. He could not get involved. So let's wait and see if he's available. Ben White trained today. So Ben White and Gabriel both trained today. Francisco, good to see you, which is obviously very, very good news. He was asked about if he's concerned about the gap at the top of the table. He said, you want to be first. You want to win every game. We know the situations that we have to play with this season, but we're right in the mix. We know that the tough challenge, that we're going to face tomorrow, but we're fully ready for that. Obviously, he was asked about last season's trip to St. James's Park, which was, the ridiculous goal that could have been ruled out for about 4 different reasons, but wasn't. And he rightly lost his head afterwards. He said, it's part and part of the game. It's part of the past and part of the situation that happened. You learn from it. You take a lot of positives as well. And we've moved on. This made me chuckle. He was asked if the standard of refereeing has improved since last time. He said, my intention was not that the comments worked. I have to say what I feel on the day. They're certainly trying their best. Yeah, they're trying. In other words, no, the standard of refereeing has not improved. If anything, it's got worse. So there you go. He was asked about White's performance at centre-back. He said that's Ben's quality. He can play in those 2 positions. Within those positions, he can adapt his role and play different heights, especially in ball possession, with demanding against a very difficult, tricky opponent with very particular duels, especially in that section of the pitch. To do that job when he hasn't played there for over a year, I think he was really good. He's then asked some stuff that if you want to go and read, you can read yourself about Amorim and Newcastle's start to the season. Nwaneri's potential. I can talk about how good he is right now. At 17 years old, to be in a position like he is at one of the biggest clubs in Europe, I think sums up really well the level that he has. What's going on in the future is mainly going to depend on him and how much he wants it. At the moment, he wants it a lot and he's surrounded by the right people. And then you will need a crystal ball to see where he's going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years. My prediction is very positive. He was asked if he was amongst the best young players that he's ever seen. He said it's rare to see a talent like this at 17 years old. That is true. But when we gave him his debut in the Premier League, there was a lot of talk about it, but we didn't do it because he was a gift. We did it because we knew the pathway that he wanted to build with him, and we wanted to send him a really strong sign about how much we trust him and how much we wanted him to stay with us. We are delighted to have him. And it made me laugh because I don't know if you remember back when Nwaneri was given his debut by Arteta in the Premier League when he was 15. But Jason Cundy on TalkSport ripped into Mikel Arteta for giving him that debut. He claimed that the reason that he'd given him the debut was because Arteta wanted to be to break the record of having the fastest ever, the youngest ever starting sub player debut, whatever. And he basically tore Arteta to shreds. And I think that is directly a shot at Jason Cundy, basically, who is a massive bellend. Took a bit of a break from football content. I'm finding this Premier League season really unpleasant. I don't blame you, to be honest, Patrick. I don't blame you. To be like being super honest, I am genuinely finding it difficult to just deal with like the constant frustration at referees, and that might not even be what you're talking about, but I have found this season really kind of frustrating because it just, I feel like every game you're watching is either we're getting shafted or things that we've been shafted for are going unpunished, and then I feel like we're constantly getting gaslit, and it's like I feel like you can't have an honest conversation about what's happening because people just want to shit on Arsenal, basically. And it has been a frustrating start to the season on that front. He was asked about Thomas Partey playing more minutes this season than last. He has now literally played more minutes this season than he did in the entirety of last season. He said the one thing that we needed was Thomas to be at the level that we wanted, certainly. He's working so hard to do that, and he's doing it at the moment, and I think he's playing really well in different positions with different demands, and he's coping with it in a great way. He's a big player for us. On whether there will be contract talks, he's only 31 and he's in a really good place. And yeah, we'll have discussions. So interesting. Not just the refs, but the media too. Oh my God. There was an article today, right? This is genuinely one of the worst titles to an article I've ever seen. I'm not going to pull it up, but genuinely... let me find it. It was insane. Where is it? Okay, this can be on it. It was an article in the Telegraph today, right? And it was just a joke. Annoyingly, I can't actually find it now. I can't imagine it was deleted, but here it is. Right, so this was in the Telegraph, written by Luke Edwards, who's awful. So he decided today to go all the way back to last season. And he wrote an article about how Arsenal followed Arteta's rant by releasing an astonishing club statement. Right? And the article is effectively titled or put on Twitter, Sir Bobby Robson would be furious with Arteta and Arsenal's carry-on. So he's talking about a thing that happened a year ago. He's bringing up a bloke that's been dead for 15 years and claiming to know what said dead person would have thought of the situation, and then written an entire article about it. And that's the thing. You're right. The media is falling apart when it comes to Arsenal. And again, that makes it very difficult to engage with the media. It's awful. The standard of journalism is absolutely down the drain. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, that's the thing, right? People get annoyed. People do get annoyed at the fact that someone like me gets to make content about football, right? I get comments quite a lot, or like the hate comments that will be like, can't believe that you get to represent Arsenal or you get to talk about football. It's like, at this point, it's not like we're competing with much. Like, when you look at the media that we're actually competing with, it's awful. It is awful. And genuinely, if like a content creator wrote an article like that, it would be embarrassing. It would be absolutely embarrassing. Media is all about the engagement rather than knowledge. It's a shambles. Yeah, completely. Completely. I sort of take joy knowing that the prick that wrote that was fuming over us. It's true. It's true. Arsenal and slander equals clicks. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But they're not good clicks. That's the thing. That's the thing. Where are the journalists fighting for integrity of the sport? All the mainstream are just mouthpieces for Man City and PGMOL. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. They're more interested in where their, you know, where the money's coming from than actual journalistic integrity. Mr. Happy, hi Rory, have you watched Inside Gooners on TalkSport? I've seen a few clips of it. I've not actually sat down and watched the whole thing yet, but I do intend on doing it. I think that is actually something that is good. Obviously they've got Clive on, which I think is really good. So yeah, no, I do actually want to sit down and listen to that. Sky and BBC and TalkSport are trying to be like content creators. Media is shocking. I hate it. That's the thing. Like, there's just a place. There is a place for proper journalism to still exist. But because they see the sort of numbers that some content creators are able to generate on social media, they're all going down that path. And it's like, it's just awful. Because that path is created by those content creators. You know, they don't have degrees in journalism. They don't, it's just like everything's going down the route of just clickbait, rage bait, nonsense. And it's frustrating. Can you talk about the injury update? The injury update is Ben White trained, Gabriel trained, Calafiori is going to be out until after the international break. Martin Odegaard, some people think trained today, but Arteta said he's definitely not going to be in the squad tomorrow. Tomiyasu out until after the international break. And that's basically it, I think. Predicted lineup. We'll go through that in a bit. He actually added a little bit more on Ben White's issue, because the previous one was a groin issue. He said, no, this is related more to a joint. So don't know what that joint is or what the problem is, but Ben White trained today. And yeah, when to expect Tomiyasu back? Don't expect him to be available before the break, unfortunately. And he didn't offer more than that. And look, this is the third time this season already that I've said Tomiyasu is untenable. But, you know, so he's just wildly untenable at this point. He really is. We can't win. Waneri makes a debut at 15 and they say Arteta just wanted to make it about himself. Now they're saying he's a special and should play. Sad our standard merchant fans follow the train. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The media doing it's one thing, but when our own fan base feeds into it, that's what annoys me. That's always the thing that annoys me most. The media can clickbait in whatever way they want, right? And other rival fans can say whatever they want. When our own fan base feed into it themselves because they want to appear like edgy, or not even edgy, but like they're so desperate to appear unbiased that they feed into what is very biased takes from rivals. That annoys me. But Partey being amazing. We'll play him in midfield. Timber at right back is a must, in my opinion. Yeah, look, it's interesting. It's interesting. And we're going to talk about the lineup. We are. If Inter Milan next week is a possibility for Odegaard, now is the stage when he will do certain work with us. Let's see how he deals with pain, if he moves naturally enough, if he's physically now at the level that requires him to compete. But with the work rate and the hours he's put in, I would be surprised that the moment he starts training with us, we don't say that he looks ready. So hopefully soon. So there you go. Anyway, look, that is the... he was asked if we've received harsher treatment from referees. And he said, no. Every club has a history with games and situations and comments. That's part of the game. We have to understand it for what it is. If every decision I make is going to get criticised, or they understand or don't understand it, it's part of the game. We're always going to have opinions about the job. That's normal. I think he's trying to keep PGMOL happy. I think we have been treated more harshly, and I think that's quite clear. But hey, that's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. Do you think we need Odegaard at 10 to get the best out of Martinelli? Not at 10. I think we need Odegaard back, but I think we're going to start getting the best out of Martinelli by having Marino in the team. But this is the thing, right? So I want to bring up this because we'll talk about the team now in terms of what we would do. like, for me, if you go back to the team that played against Liverpool, right? So assuming Ben White can shift to right back, well, this is the thing. Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, you would assume are definitely going to start. Do you play White? Do you continue with Partey? If you play White, what do you do in midfield? And then what do you do in attack? So the attack, I assume, will be Martinelli, Havertz, Saka, right? I think we can agree on that. I would play White at right back, given that White is our right back. Timber at left back. Now, again, it depends who you want to mark Anthony Gordon. Who do you want to... 12.8k subs. There we go. We've hit 12,800. I appreciate you. 12,800 is done. On to the next one. What a day. Doubt one of them is Tom Garrett. Probably not. Yeah, so I think it's interesting because I would play Ben White at right back if he's fit. Now, we might end up seeing Anthony Gordon playing off the right for Newcastle. Right? Because what they have been doing recently, or when they can, is playing Barnes off the left and Gordon off the right. So if they play Gordon off the right, again, I'd probably want Timber at left back to deal with that. So then you've got Partey, Rice, and Mikel Merino. Now, the only time that we played all three of them previously was against Bournemouth. That was the only time previously that we started all three of them. Now, that game is hard to judge in its entirety. First of all, because Saliba got sent off. Second of all, because we had Raheem Sterling on the right-hand side, not Bukayo Saka. So, it's kind of like, would you go for that midfield again? Personally, I wouldn't. I'd rather have Trossard in there as more of an attacking player, even if we've got Bukayo Saka. Timber was amazing before he went down via Liverpool. Yeah, he was. Merino returned to Newcastle goal. We will be there. We will be there. We need to win the midfield battle. We do need to win the midfield battle. But we won the midfield battle against Liverpool, who have a very good midfield. And we won that midfield battle whilst having Trossard in midfield. So then it becomes, okay, so if we are going to play Trossard and we're only going to play two out of Partey, Rice and Merino, who do you drop? Out of Partey, Rice and Merino, which one of those three do you drop? Now, I would argue, based on what we've seen so far this season, the best two of those three are Rice and Partey. Partey's probably been the best. Rice against Liverpool was absolutely phenomenal, and I think he's building into it. So I'd say Rice and Partey are probably the best two. And if you were just dropping a player purely based on that, I think you would drop Mikel Merino. However, I think Merino is actually the one out of the three that has to play. Because the midfield is so much more balanced when Merino's in there. Because he's the only one out of those three that really is an 8. And he's the only one out of those three that's left-footed. And I think we really need one left-footed midfielder to spread the play out here. So I would actually guarantee starting Merino. And then you've got a choice between Rice and Partey, in my opinion. Both Rice and Partey, they're best in the 6, right? The 6 is their better position. Both of them have played well enough to claim that spot for this game. So it's a very difficult one. Now, personally, I am just about edging it starting Declan Rice. And the reason for this game specifically is the physicality of the Newcastle midfield. You know, their midfield is going to be Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and Joel Linton. And the physicality of that midfield, for me, I think Rice edges it over Thomas Partey. But we'll see. We'll see. What do you think? Merino has to play? That's the thing. Like, I tried explaining this on Twitter, but even though Merino might not necessarily have been the best of those three, like, he's the one that, for the balance of the midfield, I think needs to play. I think his height is also an advantage, but Think this is agree to disagree? What would you do, Ross? What would you do? We are open to all opinions here. We are open to all opinions. Apart from starting Jorginho, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'd play all three. Having Saka back will help with creativity, and if White is back, along with Timber at left back, I think we have a good amount of creativity across the team. Fair. Fair. If Calafiori doesn't play, Marino has to start. I think Trossard will drop out. Possibly. I mean, look, it very well could be these three. You know, the team could very easily be this back four, but Timber at left back. This midfield, Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. That very well could be the team. And the midfield might look a lot better than it did in the game against Bournemouth. Maybe. That probably would be the most physical midfield that we could put out if we want to go toe-to-toe physically with Newcastle. Do you think we need an attacking midfielder? Personally, I prefer it. I'd rather play our game than playing into Newcastle's game. Going all-out physicality because Newcastle are a physical team, it's playing into their game. And I don't necessarily think we need to do it. You know, if you look at some of the games that Newcastle have played this season, if you go and look at some of the games that Newcastle have played in games that they've lost, they lost at home to Brighton, right? Brighton's midfield was Belaber and Hinshelwood. And then they had Jorginho Ruta, who was kind of playing in there. That's not like an insane physical midfield. And they lost that game. To be fair, probably should have done better than a draw, but they lost it. Previous games to that, drew 0-0 with Everton. Everton's midfield, pretty solid, to be fair. But even Everton played with an attacking midfielder in Dwight McNeil and just two solid midfielders behind it. And again, that was against the same midfield that we're probably going to come up against. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But Everton's a low block, though. Everton is a low block, yeah. But it was but Everton still played with four attacking players. They lost to Fulham, right? They lost to Fulham. Fulham played Smith Rowe as the attacking midfielder. Do you know what I mean? And Andreas Pereira. Like, you look at that midfield, that's not a wildly physical midfield. And as a result, they scored 3 goals. They played with 2 wingers, a striker, and attacking midfielder. So I do think it's doable. I'd play Rice, Marino, Ethan, but I know it's going to be Trossard. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, Nwaneri's not going to start. I get some people would start him, and that's fair, but I think that's a very physical game to get him into. Probably dropping Partey, give him a rest for a better balanced midfield, use Partey into for quick attacks. Well, this is the other thing, right? This is the other thing. If we go and look at Arsenal fixtures, we've got 3 big games, 3 big away games in the space of 8 days, right? So you don't have to play all 3 of them for all 90 minutes of all 3 games. I think midfield will be Partey, Rice, Trossard, and Kai can drop in to give a midfield 4. We will dominate them. Marino to be dropped, as hard as that is to say. Interesting. We'll see. I don't think we will drop Marino, but I tell you what, if Marino does score against them, I hope he does celebrate it. If Marino gave it one of these after playing for them for a bloody season. In a perfect world, would you start Nwaneri this game? No. I wouldn't start Nwaneri in this game. That would have, for me, Nwaneri's first Premier League start would be at home, and it would be against a team that we should comfortably beat. I am not saying Nwaneri isn't capable of starting the game. I just don't think it's worth the risk. Against a team that will probably try and hurt him. Realistically, you look at that Newcastle team, they are nasty. They would probably try and hurt him. It probably would really annoy some of those players that they were getting danced around by a 17-year-old. I wouldn't want to do it. We must get 6 points in our next 2 Prem games. We must. You are correct. We have to get 6 points here. And tomorrow's a tough game. Tomorrow is a tough game. You know, the early kickoff away at Newcastle. It's tough. I think the first goal is going to be really, really important. Newcastle have struggled to score this season. You know, if you, I'll pull this back up. If you look at Newcastle this season, they've only scored 9 goals. You know, only United, Crystal Palace, and Southampton have scored fewer goals than Newcastle this season. They average a goal a game. They've also not conceded many goals. You know, only City, Liverpool, us, and Nottingham Forest have conceded the same or fewer. So I'm not expecting a high-scoring game. But I do think the first goal is really important. You know, if they score first, they will sit incredibly deep. The assumptions that they'll play 2 wingers and a striker, they might not. They might play 4 midfielders again. They've done it against us before. They might play 4 midfielders where they play like Longstaff at right mid and Joel Linton at left mid, but they're really just central midfielders. And then have Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes. And that'll be tough. That'll be stodgy to try and get through. I'm hoping the atmosphere will be subdued due to the early kickoff. It should be a bit, to be fair. The atmosphere should be a bit subdued because of it being an early kickoff. If White isn't fit, I'd start Timber at right back and MLS at left back. Thoughts? No, for me, if White isn't fit, I would start Partey at right back. I'd still start Timber at left back. I'd start Partey at right back. And then I'd have Rice and Marino in midfield, which is what I would do anyway. I think it'll be another Bukayo Saka show. I hope so. I mean, if we look at the Newcastle team, actually, the predicted team is Pope, Livramento, Shah, Kelly, Hall, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Jolinton, Barnes, Isak, and Gordon. Like that is a defense that you can get at. You can get at that defense. Maybe they start Burn instead of Kelly. Not sure, but Isak showcasing for Arteta and Edu, possibly. Can we give Forest props? What a start they've had. I had them going down. Yeah, they've had a great start. I didn't have them going down, but I certainly didn't have them doing as well as they're doing. Yeah, they've done really well. Saka's unplayable at the moment. Yeah, he has been. And I don't think Hall is a brilliant defender, to be honest. Martinelli thrived most when Odegaard was 10 in 22-23, so we should play him there in the future. Yeah, but then you've got to play a double pivot behind. I mean, we could do. I'm sure Odegaard will drift centrally at times, but you've got to remember. I mean, Odegaard wasn't completely a 10, really. He was still kind of playing in the right pocket. But Martinelli also thrived in 22-23 when we had Granit Xhaka. And we've not really had anything like Granit Xhaka until we brought in Marino. So you can see it already. When Marino plays, Martinelli is able to stay much further up the pitch, and Marino is able to find him much more easily because of the angle that he passes at. Because instead of curling it away to the outside of the pitch, he's curling it into the inside of the pitch. Yeah, exactly. He had Xhaka and he had Zinchenko. Now, Timber can do some of that work inverting, and Marino can underlap as well. But Marino to haunt his pre-oil employers, hopefully. I want to take revenge on them for last season. Well, this is the thing. This game will not need Mikel Arteta to rev the team up. You know? After the robbery last season, Mikel Arteta could show, one clip of Bruno Guimaraes elbowing the back of Jorginho's head and another clip of the goal that got given. That's all the motivation you need. That is literally all the motivation you need. I really want to batter them. I want them to have a goal disallowed from a ball just going over the line. Yeah, that would be nice. Havertz winning every aerial duel against Dan Burn. We will be there. Yeah, it'll be interesting whether or not Dan Burn plays. Dan Burn looked awful when he was playing earlier this season. He did look awful. So maybe it'll be this Kelly guy. Lloyd Kelly. Don't know much about him, to be honest. He can't be that good. He's 26 and I barely know who he is. How many yellow cards can you see in this game? A lot. A lot of yellow cards. I'd imagine VAR will be used a lot as well, which is going to be great because it's Jared fucking Gillett. Is Ben White in for Newcastle? Heard Gabriel was in. Both of them have trained. Both of them have trained today. So Mikel Arteta in his press conference basically said if they both trained, then they should be available. And they have both been spotted in training. So yeah, hopefully they are both going to be available. Hopefully they will be. Newcastle play very rough. Yeah, they do play very rough. I need us to win tomorrow. I just cannot stand Lewis Bowden. Yeah, oh god. Yeah, Lewis Bowden will be an absolute nightmare if we don't beat them. An absolute nightmare. Did you see that Oliver got the City game? Thoughts? It makes sense. It makes sense. Michael Oliver makes an absolute howler on VAR in the Man United West Ham game, and then he gets rewarded by getting a Man City game, which is a difficult game for Man City. Away at Bournemouth, they could do with a bit of referee's help. So here's Michael Oliver to help you along. Hit the likes up, people. Yeah, if you could click the like button, if you could get me, I don't know what we're on, but if you could get me near 100 or actually to 100 would be ideal. But yeah, if you could click the like button, I would be grateful. The Toon always seem to turn up their game whenever we show up. Any idea why they take this particular game so seriously? Yeah, I was speaking on Mo's channel about this today, or Mo was saying it. Like, I don't really know, but he agrees. Newcastle do seem to get really up for games against Arsenal. And I don't know why. I don't know why. No, it's at Bournemouth. It's at Bournemouth for us. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why they seem to get so up for it, but they do. They do seem to get up for it, and it's annoying. We have a really good chance to win the League Cup. On a side note, yeah, we do. Carabao Cup is. I think we should go for it now. I think we've been kind of provided the route in the Carabao Cup to the point where you should just go for it. Score prediction. My score prediction is 2-0 to Arsenal. My score prediction is 2-0 to Arsenal. I think we'll score first. We'll then defend a fair bit, and then we'll score another one towards the end when Newcastle start really going for it. No way, the PGMOL must be stopped. How can they keep getting away with appointing refs that make the same mistakes? Well, it's a joke. They get away with it because they're a private company and no one holds them to account. They're not audited. They're not reviewed. They can do whatever they want. There's no punishment when they get things wrong. There's no accountability. You know, the media are on their side because they give the media access to them, which means the media are nice to them. So it's all a joke. Mine's 3-1 to Arsenal. I'll take that. Remember, by the way, we're live on Big Up. Says it right here. Right here. We're live on Big Up tomorrow for the game, for the watch-along. Big Up, link down in the description. It is the future of football watch-alongs, it is Big Up. So the community that we're building over there is absolutely fantastic. I'll be live from about 12:15. Obviously, it's a 12:30 kickoff. But yeah, hopefully see as many of you there as possible. Still remember Ødegaard long-range goal a couple of seasons ago. I was out of my seat. Yeah. And what did I see on the timeline today? Oh, Granit Xhaka's free kick. What happened to our clean sheets? It's been tough recently, the clean sheets. But what do you think of Goldbridge saying Liverpool replaced us as title contenders? I think he wanted views. I disagree with him. But look, he's entitled to his opinion. He is entitled to his opinion. Anyway, it is now time for Guess the Goal Scorer. I'm going to give you all of the information about an Arsenal goal. You have to tell me the name of the scorer and the team that it was against in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we're starting now. Remember, give me the name of the player and the team that it was against. This goal was scored with the right foot. It was scored with the right foot. It was assisted by Martin Ødegaard. It was assisted by Martin Ødegaard. It was in the 41st minute. It was in the 41st minute. It was at the Emirates. It was at the Emirates. It was in a 1-0 win. It was in a 1-0 win, and it was in March 2024. It was in March 2024. So a right-footed goal assisted by Martin Ødegaard in the 41st minute at the Emirates in a 1-0 win in March 2024. And plenty of you have got it now. For those that haven't, I'll give you another clue. The game didn't end 1-0 after 90 minutes. The game went to extra time. The game went to penalties. And Arsenal won it. But look, the first person to get it right was Ross Lawman. It was Ross Lawman. It was indeed Leandro Trossard versus Porto. Sam Shapiro was second. Ethan Udall was third. Matthew was fourth. And Francisco Oliveira was fifth. But there you go. Oh, wait, there's a VAR. There's a VAR. Oh, my God. How's he done that? How's he done that? That's literally the first comment after I put starting now. Ross, I'm sorry. Sportcat's just done an absolute madness. He's done an before a clue would be like, I don't. You know, when we used to do Guess the Gooner, I kind of got it right. There's a relatively limited number of Arsenal players to choose from. There are so many goals, like literally any goal. What are the odds of that? That is insane. That is insane. But Sportcat has won it. You mentioned it yourself? Oh, yeah. No, there you go. Fuming. Unbelievable. Sportcat, congratulations. As once again, Ross Lawman being very gracious. I guess when you win it as much as Ross does, you know, you can afford to lose a couple. But there we go. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Anyway, it is now time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as Sportcat and Ross Lawman currently have. This player started their career at the Barcelona Youth Academy. They started their career at the Barcelona Youth Academy. They graduated to the Barcelona senior team. They then moved to Manchester United. They went on loan to Standard Liège. And then they moved permanently to Middlesbrough. So Barca, Manchester United, a loan to Standard Liège, Middlesbrough. Right, who got it first? It was... Wow. He's done the dirty double. He has done the dirty double. It was indeed Victor Valdez, and Sportcat, a remarkable dirty double, has done it. Francisco Oliveira was second. Ethan Udall was third. Oslo Gunnar was fourth. And Ryan Henderson was fifth. But there you go. What an evening. What an evening for Sportcat. His second dirty double. It's impressive. It is impressive. You know, you could tell Sportcat had been away for a while. And he's come back. And he is coming for the crown. Consecutive dirty doubles with me and Sportcat. Yeah, honestly, the rest of you need to stop getting dominated by Sportcat and Ross Lawman. Not in that way, but absolutely crazy. Damn internet, first on my screen. That is unlucky. The internet can be a painful mistress. It really can. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. Like I said, link down in the description to Big Up, where we'll be doing the watch along of tomorrow's game. Might go live tomorrow. What's the evening kickoff tomorrow? Am I going to watch the evening kickoff tomorrow? Wolves against Crystal Palace. Honestly, we might go live on here tomorrow evening to talk about the game. We'll be live on Twitch later on. Waneri to Glory on Twitch tonight. Wow. We'll also have Foot Champs rewards, but Waneri is getting mega boosted on the Waneri to Glory on FC25 tonight. So yeah, any of you that want to join that, link to the Twitch is down in the description as well. Other than that, look, have a fantastic Friday evening. Enjoy your weekends. And I will catch you all either later tonight or tomorrow. Goodbye.